I love steak, and so does the entire country, it seems. I mean, people literally have entire YouTube channels dedicated to beef, right? Barbecue channels, outdoor cooking channels, cheeseburger channels, videos, whatever. You get the idea. Now, I love beef, and we do eat a fair amount of it here, you know, especially being here in the Midwest. So I got to thinking, can I cook an entire day's worth of meals using beef as the centerpiece and not get sick of it? I'm talking breakfast, lunch, dinner, and yes, even dessert. Not sure how that's gonna go, but we're doing it, so. Breakfast time, baby. We're gonna make some steak and eggs, but we're gonna elevate it and take it up a notch. And to help us with that, I chose this cut here, which is one of my favorites. This is called the hanger steak, also sometimes called the butcher steak here in the States, and that's because the butchers used to take it for themselves because nobody wanted it, which is crazy because this is one of the most flavorful and like tender and awesome cuts of the entire cow. There's this seam that runs through it, so we actually need to kind of like cut the two loins off of the seam so that we get only the tender part here. You can see one smaller than the other, kind of already cut. This is pretty trimmed up for us. There's, you know, most of the sinew and fat has been trimmed away from it, which is good. Makes our life a little easier. So you can see right here, this is our main piece. This is now just a tender tube of beef. And you can see it's a little on the darker side, and that's because I salted it last night and let it sit open in the fridge to kind of dry out, which is just gonna help us get like that crustier piece of meat that we're looking for. So to make this a little more manageable, I'm gonna go ahead and just slice these down the middle here, portion them out like this. Probably just get rid of that little guy. Probably hit this right in the middle, like that. All right, so check this out here, guys. I already seasoned these, but I'm just gonna season them a little more because, you know, you can never be too careful. Beef, it can take a lot of salt. We're gonna go some pepper as well. I'm gonna flip that, same thing, just salt and pepper, keeping it simple, letting that beef shine. This is such a flavorful, tender cut of meat that like, I don't like putting, you know, Cajun spices or anything like that. You'll see how we treat this thing soon. Medium-high heat-ish. With a little bit of beef tallow. This is literally just rendered beef fat. Just kind of help that cook along there. We're good and beefy today. The theme of the day, boof. Say it with me, boof. I don't believe in that whole let the steak chill, develop that crust, then flip. I like to flip multiple times throughout the cooking process, just make sure things are even, and because, well, I'm diagnosed with ADHD. I like having stuff to do. Okay, so at this point we're about 70% of the way there. It's still quite squishy, but we're getting some nice color. Wonderful. I'm gonna take some thyme and some garlic. Got some nice butter here, good cultured butter. We're gonna pop that in. Who doesn't want a glob of butter in the morning? I mean, people literally eat cake for breakfast. This is no different, right? The savory version of that, pancakes, waffles. It's a pretty insane move to eat that for breakfast. That garlic thyme butter just kind of being created in the pan right now. I'm gonna tilt the pan towards me and just start basting our boys. Take these off the heat and let them rest. It took maybe about 5 minutes to cook these, so we'll let them rest for like 5 minutes. And we're just gonna toast off our bread in that infused steaky thyme garlic butter. Let's get the other side going here. All right, cool. Toast, baby. Okay, steak and eggs. We're trying to elevate the components of this dish, right, which is steak and eggs. So to do that, we're gonna make a very interesting herby, greenish, soft scramble here. So I got some fresh herbs here. We got some parsley, some tarragon, some chervil, and some chives. Together, those are called fiends herbs, right? It's a Frenchy thing. They're really nice together. They're very subtle, delicate, colorful, beautiful. This could also be cilantro. This could be just parsley and cilantro. This could be, you know, if you're having a hard time finding tarragon or anything like that, this could be like just chives, schwig, schwang, schwiggle. This is all going to go into a blender, into Mr. Swirly. Along with that goes our eggs. I got 6 whole eggs here. And of course, a good pinch of kosher. All we do at this point, turn on the blender. So with steak and eggs, I always see the sunny side up eggs, and I like that. I like the crispy egg whites, I like the yolk, I like dripping the yolk on the steak. However, I also think that the soft scramble isn't utilized enough in the steak and eggs world. I really like it, so that's why I wanted to make sort of like a super rich, herby, greenish soft scramble to be alongside our steak. I think it's gonna be really nice. So that's what we're making. I'm just gonna stir in a little extra of this stuff here, which is creme fraiche, right? It's a fermented cream, super easy to make. I got a video on that if you wanna check it out. And when you add it to your eggs and just kind of swirl it into the mix, boy oh boy, does it make me feel good. It just adds like a luscious creaminess to it. And so with the soft scramble, remember we're on low heat, got everything in. All we do now is just kind of stir gently. Smell those chives. Remove it from the heat a bit. It will continue to cook. You don't want to do this too fast or you'll just have like a not really the most like delicate mixture. We don't really want it to have any body. It should like kind of fall onto itself. Let's back up for a second. So I just cut the heat and these will finish through from the heat of the pan. Let's cut into our steak. Look at this. Look at those strands. God, I love this cut. This is an extremely easy cut to slice because you can see which way the grain's going here, right? We're gonna cut across that to tenderize it. You already know the drill. So I'm just gonna cut manageable chunks for our steak and eggs. I like it a little on the larger side. This is a really satisfying cut of meat right here. And then just to show you the cook on that, you can see how tender that is just like with like the mechanical like structure of the meat here. Let's plate up. When I say plate up, I mean skillet up. It's steak and eggs, right? It looks nice in the skillet. Let's just keep it nice and rustic. I'm gonna take some of this scramble and just pop it right in the skillet here. And then of course, our toasties, our toasted sourdough. Just to finish off here, I got some finishing salt for the steak. Just a little chili oil, you know, hot sauce, steak, hot sauce, eggs, that's nice. Look at this, I even got the themed coffee mug. Just cutting it directly in the pan like an animal. Grab some of these chili herby eggs, pop that on that corn town, put that steak on top of that. Come on. A bite to remember. Listen, I'd say so far my beef meters are stable. I'm feeling good and I'm ready for the next thing, but we'll talk about that when it gets to lunchtime. All right, baby, it's lunchtime. Afternoon, time to eat again. Okay, so here we got a flank steak here, and we're gonna use it to make one of my favorite lunch specialties of all time, the steak Caesar salad wrap. So flank steak, as you can see, it comes from the flank of the animal here, and you can really see the grain. It's almost impossible not to notice, right? It's just straight flowing this way. Generally, you'll see this cut up, right? Like this. I'm gonna do something a little different here. I want it to be distributed well throughout the entire wrap. I don't want these long pieces, so we're gonna cut them up into little chunkers. So I'm just gonna take my knife here and cut the original, maybe a little thicker than usual, pieces that you might expect from a regular flank steak. Look at that there. Definitely on the leaner side. Okay, so now that we have our strips, right, we'll pop that here, and I'm just gonna cube them up into similar sized square chunks. These are gonna cook very fast. They're all gonna be uniform in size, and these little beautiful pieces will be scattered all throughout your wrap, so that way you don't get just like a bite of straight crouton and lettuce and no meat. The idea is you want kind of everything evenly dispersed in the tube, right? The lettuce, the dressing, the Parmesan, the croutons, the steak. So that's why we're doing this. All right, here we go. We got our steak chunkatry. Beautiful uniform pieces of flank steak, unseasoned. Let's cook them. All right, all of our beef in a hot pan. Little neutral oil. Black pepper. A little bit of kosher salt. Now we just mix it up until they're nice and browned off. There we are. Getting some color there. As that moisture evaporates, it's going to stick and caramelize onto our little beef chunks here and make them like that. You could hear that as the liquid evaporates, it gets louder. Not only do you cook with your eyes and nose, but you use your ears too. Very nice. Okay, these are good. Ooh. Woo! Now we're cooking. Steak Caesar salad needs salad. Classic Caesar uses romaine lettuce. So we're gonna chop some of this up here. This is just a nice big old washed head of romaine. What I like to do for uniformity is just kind of cut those pieces off. Save that for stock. Just kidding, don't do that. All right, so there's a lot of ways you can make a Caesar salad. There's not just one way. I've seen it done with kale. I've seen it done with like endive. I mean, you could use any greens. You can cut them any way you'd like. For our purposes today, I'm gonna just chop that right down, expose those beautiful halves. You could even like layer this and straight up like dress this in between its layers and serve them on a plate, cut them like that, great. For our wrap, we need things a little smaller. So I'm just gonna cut that root off, and I actually like to go kind of like pretty much ribbons, I guess you can call these. I just think it's much more manageable, easy in a wrap. There we are, there's our romaine. Greens. But look at that, you got your nice yellowy green colors, different textures in there, but we're not finished up with the greens yet. This is perilla leaf, okay? It's often used in Korean cuisine as a kind of an aromatic, or a sam, which is basically using this as a little taco wrapper, right, to eat things. I love perilla in a Caesar specifically. There's something about the way it plays with the dressing. So what we're gonna do here is I'm just gonna chiffonade these perilla leaves into little ribbons. Almost like an herb. Well, you know, like an herb, because it is an herb. Did I say this is related to mint? It's in the mint family. It's not quite minty though. It's a little, when you smell it, you can tell it's kind of related. Maybe it's a little related to mint, but it's definitely got its own thing going on. Like I said, really great in a Caesar. So I'm just gonna sprinkle these into our greens, weave those in. You can't even tell they're there, but when you eat this, it's gonna be so much more than just romaine, and chances are people won't even know what's in there. So, a little trick for you. All right, steak Caesar salad. We got the steak, we got the salad, we need the Caesar. We gotta secure the bowl down because we will be whisking. Into that bowl goes a yolk, just a single yolk, a clove of garlic, Dijon mustard, a couple chopped anchovies. If you don't like anchovies, you can barely taste them, so don't worry. They're there for umami, and the dressing is not the same without them, I will say. Lemon juice. A little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano. And then some black pepper. I like a lot of pepper in my Caesar, and a pinch of kosher. Now we're gonna whisk that together. So this is our water base here, which we are going to emulsify oil into. If your dressing looks like that, you're in a good place. We're gonna emulsify in two fats here, two oils. We got a neutral oil and we got an olive oil. The neutral oil is going to be the body of this, and it's going to give most of the volume to the dressing, but not that much flavor. Then we'll switch over to olive oil, and that's gonna impart its olive oily flavor. Slow, slow, slow here until we get to a certain point, then we can start adding our oil faster. Otherwise the sauce could break, the dressing, but it's pretty much like a sauce. So once you get to a point like basically here, you could start adding the oil a lot faster, and it can take it. That egg yolk holds everything together. Also a little bit about the anchovies. I do prefer anchovies whole and chunky in there. I think the texture's nice. I like the look of it. I think it's a classic Caesar dressing look, but you could use a little dash of fish sauce. I've done that in a pinch. It's pretty much gonna get you the same flavor minus the texture. It's a great, easier, cleaner way of doing it if you have fish sauce on deck. All right, we're gonna switch over to olive oil here. And keep whisking, baby. All right, cool. See that texture, how it's like definitely more viscous now and everything's emulsified in. Now we can taste. Wonderful, really acidic, nice, umami, maybe a tiny pinch of kosher. And like I said, I like a lot of black pep. I'm going hard. All right, beautiful. And if you wanted to make this a creamy Caesar, you'd stir in some creme fraiche, you'd stir in some, maybe a tiny dash of heavy cream, some dairy, and it would be creamy, but I prefer the OG. Cool, dressing done. One last thing we gotta do. Every wrap needs something to wrap it in. So we're doing a flour tortilla here. Now, do you have to make your own flour tortillas from scratch? No. If you got good store-bought stuff, go to the store, grab them, warm them up a little bit so they're pliable, and you'll be fine. But there is something extremely special about a flour tortilla, and I haven't made them in a while, so we're gonna make them. Put that to sleep with its family. Close it up. Beautiful. Now we can toss our salad. Cold bowl. We're gonna do a handful of our green mixture. Handful of croutons. I just made these in the oven really quick. Day old bread, 300 degrees, olive oil, salt, pepper, boom. We're gonna peel off some parm right in there. Nice big pieces. They'll crumble up when we toss the salad. A bit of our steak. A little more pepper. We're gonna drizzle our Caesar dressing right on top there. I like a, not quite wet, but sufficiently soaked Caesar. Pinch of salt for good measure. Little black pepper for good measure. And now we can toss. Best way to do this is just by hand. Make sure everything's coated and soaked. That looks looking good to me. Tortilla down, steak Caesar in the middle, piled high and proud. I want the whole thing. I'm good and greedy. I like a big fat Caesar wrap, right? And come on, I know at one point in your life you ate at Chipotle once a week, maybe even 3 to 5 times a week. That's what we're gonna do here. So we close up the sides, then we're gonna come over like so. You can do this kind of slow. It really helps use a warm tortilla for this so it doesn't break on you. And we're just gonna come right down until we have something like that. Just a nice, it's, you know what, it's hilarious because it's a huge wrap, right? But it's actually extremely light because it's mostly greens. Let's cut into it, shall we? Shan't we? Right down middle. Nice and distributed. Oh baby, this has gotta be like one of my favorite lunches of all time. Steak Caesar wrap. I feel like sandwiches get all the lunch glory, but wraps get a bad rap, man. This is just like one of the most satisfying things. And chances are, if you've ever like struggle ordered, you know, you're like the last one at the table, the waiter's going around, your heart's beating out of your chest. Chicken Caesar, steak Caesar, Caesar. But this is the last thing from struggling because it's so dang tasty. So without further ado. Literally everything that I wanted out of this wrap is in the wrap, go figure. It's dispersed, it's well dressed, it's well seasoned. You got the crunchy, you got the steaky, you got the freshness from all the greens in that perilla. It's just so dang good. I'm gonna definitely consume all of this, whether it be on or off camera. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling nimble, light. I could go run 25 miles, just kidding. I probably can't even run 1. But my beef meter is still pretty stable. I'm feeling pretty nice. I'm excited for what is to come. And what is to come? Dinner, my favorite meal of the day. But first, a quick word from the sponsor of this video. This video is appropriately sponsored by Beef It's What's for Dinner on behalf of the National Beef Checkoff. So we're super lucky here in the States to have access to some of the best beef on planet Earth, straight up. As you can see by this video, beef is an extremely versatile ingredient. You could literally eat it for every meal of the day, which is what we're doing right now. Think about it, from steaks on the grill to briskets for the smoker to large format roasts for tacos, beef can do it all. So whether you're making one of my recipes or something from beefitswhatsfordinner.com, beef has got your back all year long. Speaking of back, let's get back to the video. See what I did there? The big boy Tomahawk ribeye. When I say big boy, I mean look at that thing, dude. Beautiful, nice and thick, tender cut right here, very marbled and fatty, tons of flavor. You don't have to do too much to it to make it taste really good. I salted this overnight. I let it sit on a rack. It's drier right here. You can see it's kind of like tacky, right? We want that. The crust is gonna develop way faster. So just for safe measure, I'm gonna season with a little more salt here, just kind of rub that around. This thing has been seasoned already. I'm gonna hit it with a little black pepper too. A lot of people don't like to season their steak with black pepper because they think it burns on the grill. It does char a little bit, but it creates a nice crust. This thing right here, this thing is special. This is caveman stuff. Let's use fire to cook it. Good steak needs good sauce. We're gonna throw some Respecca on the name of this ribeye and make a green peppercorn sauce or black peppercorn sauce. Whatever peppercorns you got will work. I love this sauce. It's creamy, it's got a little bit of that taste of brandy in it, it's beefy, it's rich, it's special, and it's special enough to stand up to our special boy over there chilling in the back. Say hi, say hi. He grew up so fast. Let's put this on nice mid-low heat. Wonderful. I need some neutral oil. We got a little bit of canola oil. Just gonna pop some of that in. This is one finely minced shallot in. A little pinch of kosher. And we're just gonna sweat these down for a couple minutes. When I say sweat, I mean we're not gonna give these guys any color. Those are looking nice. We are going to add our garlic. Pre-mince that so that I didn't have to do it on camera. It is not jarred garlic. Somebody commented that in the last video.
What's wrong with jarred garlic?
It just like smells weird. It's got a weird synthetic, almost like metallic taste. If you really don't like mincing garlic, like your boy, I always crush my garlic with this stuff. I mean, I'll mince garlic from time to time, sure, but this is very, very useful. Little garlic press, right? Everyone's mom has one. It's starting to smell great. We're gonna add in our peppercorns here. These are green peppercorns. And they'll soften up real nice. When you think of peppercorns, you might think of like cracking and biting into a peppercorn and it getting stuck in your teeth. That's not gonna happen. They soften up really nicely in the sauce. All right, so we'll cook that till we can smell the garlic. A little bit of brandy. If you don't want liquor in your sauce, don't add it. We're just gonna cook that until it reduces down. Most of that water's cooked away. All right, cool. So see how this is reduced down here? More syrupy than it was. Now we have beef stock. This is homemade beef stock here. You can tell it's jiggly and gelatinous and beautiful. 2 cups, we're gonna pour that in. Season. I'm gonna put a little pinch of salt in here because the beef stock was not seasoned. So we're gonna reduce this down about halfway from 2 cups to 1 cup, 1 cup and a quarter, something like that. Reduce my balloons, reduce my biscuit, reduce my balloons and biscuit. Looks like we've reduced by about half. I'm gonna turn the heat down to like a low simmer vibe. We're gonna add a little bit of Dijon mustard, whisk that in, as well as some heavy cream. You don't wanna boil this cream. It could split, it would be tough to do, but you don't want that. So what we're gonna do is, look at that. Now we got that peppercorn sauce look. It's that kind of like manila, kind of, you know, if you squint, maybe yellowy green. We're gonna even turn this down maybe to like a low medium and let that simmer away for about like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Look at how viscous our bubbles are getting larger, thickening. I'm gonna cut the heat and show you guys, look at that. That is very syrupy and thick, and it will only thicken as it cools. Wow, killer. I was expecting to add more salt, but I think we nailed it. I like to start by removing the decal, right? This is actually my favorite part. Then I like to go on the bone here, cut it right off. Just remove that bone, that's for the cook, gnaw on that. You'll be a happy person. Then I like to remove this triangle piece here. So now we're left with basically the decal, this triangle piece in the center. I think the nicest looking piece to serve is probably the center here. Super wonderful, I might say. Whew. Very nice. Just a full plate of fries to go with that. I'll serve this with a little bit of salad and some mayonnaise. Then of course you gotta go in with the peppercorn. Ooh. Let's take a closer look at this baby boy. Ooh, yeah, tender. I think I might do like a little potato in there. Why not, dude? Tell you what, that is delicious. That mustard, that little bit of Dijon mustard goes a long way because it makes it not quite a mustard sauce, but like, it's just got a little bit more of like a tang. These are heavy flavors. Beef stock, cream, pepper, spicy, heavy. That mustard wakes it up. I gotta say, you know, after a full day of eating beef for breakfast, lunch, now dinner, I'm doing great. I feel strong. I'm feeling not bored, which is kind of crazy, right? Literally eating beef for 3 square meals. Now we're gonna do something weird. We're gonna make bone marrow ice cream. Bone marrow, right? Everybody loves bone marrow these days for a good reason. It's flavorful. It's like 95% fat, so when you spread it on bread, it's gonna be good. So I cooked these in a 400-degree oven for about 15 minutes, and then I chilled them in the fridge overnight. So now all we gotta do is go ahead and scrape this marrow right out of this guy here. I call it the triple B. It's very bizarre. Bone marrow, bourbon, and balsamic cherries. So these are just cherries that I soaked overnight in balsamic. So they're gonna take on a super savory, tart, acidic, semi-sweet flavor profile, which is gonna play this like interesting, weird, savory, sweet flavor combination in our ice cream. I'm pretty excited and a little nervous about it, so we'll see how this goes. So this is our ice cream base. I went ahead and made this in advance yesterday. It's basically a creme anglaise, which is English cream. It's just a custard, right? It's gonna make a wonderful, super rich ice cream. I'm just gonna pour our base right in. We're gonna let this thing run until it prompts us to add our mix-ins, which is our bone marrow and cherries and bourbon. It donged at us, we're ready to go. We'll start with our bone marrow. We're gonna plop all that in there. Oh yeah, balsamic cherry. Some of that balsamic vinegar gets in there. It's just gonna make it more interesting. I'm gonna go with that to start. Daddy's magic apple juice. Some bourbon. I'm gonna do like maybe a tablespoon. The final churn. This machine is amazing for a lot of reasons. This is probably the most amazing one of those reasons. All right, there you go, thank you. So you'll notice right now it's kind of at that soft serve consistency, which, you know, is delicious and I really do enjoy. However, to really kind of get this to be the ice cream that we want it to be, that we need it to be, we need to let this chill in the fridge till it's frozen. That's gonna be good in a few hours. So we're gonna close that, pop that in the freezer, and let it chill out. Oh my God, look at that. Would you look at that? It's almost as if I planned ahead. This is the exact same thing that we just made, completely frozen. So now to make this kind of even more like weird and on that savory side that we're going for here, I got some smoked sea salt. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of that on the top. And then we just have some good finishing olive oil. I'm gonna drizzle some of that on. It actually looks really dope. Whoa, crazy, man. Beef dessert. Bone marrow triple B ice cream. Wow, whoa. That's so weird. First off, peep this texture. That is a nice, creamy, not icy. Look at that right there. Come on. Dude, the bourbon is really good in it. My emotions are like this right now. I'm mixed, man. I don't know what to say. This is what I'll say. Ice cream texture, amazing. The bourbon, fantastic. Cherries, really good. The bone marrow, it's weird. It's not that like prevalent. Like I can't really taste it all that much, for better or worse. All of these savory components, because that custard base is so good, and those balsamic cherries with their little acidic sweet pops, it just kind of works. I would be willing to bet that if you were to try this and you like ice cream, that you would actually be into this flavor. I can't sit here and tell you that I'd order bone marrow ice cream at a restaurant outside of like the novelty factor, but this is good. Okay, my beef meter is just about full, I would say. I'm gonna grow udders. I'm gonna wake up with udders tomorrow. Yeah. But yeah, it's doable, man. We just ate beef, is the main ingredient for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, and even dessert. And the dessert wasn't even bad. I can't front, it was good. I'm not just saying that like for the video, it was really good. You tell me, which one of these meals is your favorite? If you were to swap out a meal for say breakfast or dinner, lunch, anything, what would that be? Let me know in the comments below. I think that's pretty much all I got for you this time. So until next we meet, I'll see you soon. That was me with the cowboy hat. Ta-ta.